Hi. Hola. First, I want to say thank you for you being here. It's truly, truly a blessing. I'm truly thankful to be here on every level. And thank you to the wonderful women of the Además organization for bringing me here. And to be in Spain is I'm amazed that I'm here. So thank you. You inspire me. So, there's very few words in the English language that have the kind of power that this one word that I know has. It's universal in every language. It brings up the same emotions, the same ideas, the same fears. And that word is cancer. Cancer. Woo! Go cancer. Yeah. For real. But usually when you hear the word cancer, it brings up, for all across the world, it brings up certain kinds of images about being really weak, being sick, death, destruction, the end. Usually it means these kinds of things. And when I was 28, I never thought that word would have anything to do with my life. I was living in New York City. I was in my dream job, in a very exciting life. And in October of 2000, my life got completely changed, turned upside down, inside out, turned around with that one word. Within a matter of 2 weeks at that time, I found out that I had thought I had some stomach problems, but those were in fact some kind of malignancy, in fact ovarian cancer, that I was going to have one or more surgeries, maybe some chemotherapy. And my 1-week vacation in Miami visiting my parents was going to be an indefinite stay, living with my parents at 28. And also that I was the luckiest girl in the world. So all this had to make me think, today I think, how did I get here? So I'll take you on a little trip. So as I mentioned, I was living in New York. I was working in the music business. I did marketing for Verve Records. And I also had, before that, interned at Blue Note Records. My passion, my love was jazz music and promoting the music of those artists. And in New York, it's the jazz mecca. I was in heaven there. All the artists that I had ever listened to on records and on the radio, I'm in a jazz club this close to my jazz heroes, listening to them every night. So I was in the clubs every night, listening to music and working at this record label. I was living this dream, working in the field that I loved. And at the time, I also had a boyfriend who I thought was the love of my life. And he lived in London, so it was a long-distance relationship, which afforded us a lot of creativity. And we had a very fulfilling relationship, actually. And he's a musician, so he traveled the world, and I got to travel with him. So I was really having an amazing life. And being very successful in my job, too. I was very passionate about the work that I was doing, and achieved a lot of success. I exceeded my goals in that job and built a very strong reputation among the artists and the musicians and other people in the business. And I thought I had it all. And I was invincible, young and invincible. But what came along with a lot of that success and that effort was also working extremely long hours. Sometimes I'd work 16, 18 hours a day. And often that meant I wasn't really taking care of myself in some ways, some really important ways. I would go usually all day without eating a single meal. Maybe I'd have one meal. But every day, every morning, I'd get out of my house, and I always lived, this is New York, you can walk everywhere. I would walk, I always lived in close distance to my office, so I walked to work, grab a croissant and an orange juice on the way to work, get to the office thinking every day I'm going to get to the office and I'm going to eat this breakfast. Inevitably, it wouldn't happen. 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock would come around, and maybe I'd eventually get to eating that. So I'd go all day without eating a real full meal. And I didn't do any real exercise, didn't go to the gym. I just sort of thought, well, I walk around New York City all the time. I go up and down the stairs in my office, up and down the stairs in my apartment, running around the office in the halls. I just thought, that's my exercise. That's my form of exercise. And I was a vegetarian, but I didn't eat vegetables. Didn't like them. Spinach, ugh, no. So I ate mostly fruit and pasta, and occasionally I would have some fish. And usually these would be maybe at 1 o'clock in the morning or something like this. So it was a fulfilling, rich life in terms of my career, and at the same time I wasn't really taking time to take care of myself. And occasionally my body would talk to me. Our bodies talk to us, in case you were wondering. Sometimes we hear each other's bodies talking to us by accident. But so a lot of times during my work, I would have these strange stomach, what I thought were stomach things or something. It's so bad sometimes I would be walking in the hallway and I have to stop and sit on the floor in my office and wait for the pain to go away. And then I'd get up, and I didn't think of anything of it. I was, oh, it's just, some gas or something, whatever. I ate too much lemon. I don't know. I ate a lot of lemon, so I thought too much acid. It's fine. And I just keep going. Even though sometimes when I would go back and sit down, it felt almost like all of my internal organs were underneath me and I was sitting on top of them. Imagine that. Very uncomfortable. But it didn't matter. I had work to do, and I had music to go see, I had work to do, so I just pushed through it. And like I said, I felt like I was just young and invincible, so there's nothing really terribly wrong with me. I'm just going to plow through it. Eventually, though, after about 6 years working at the job, I was not happy at my job and decided I wanted to leave the job and also go to live in London with my boyfriend, because we had never spent more than 2 weeks together at a time for 5 years. So I thought, this is a good time to take a break, spend some time with my boyfriend, and figure out what my next career move is. So I went to London for the summer. And that's me with hair. So that's me the week I arrived in London, summer of 2000. So I got to London, I spent the summer there, and towards the end of the summer, I had a couple of incidents of what I call stomach attacks. I didn't really know what else to call it. But literally, I was debilitated with pain. Nothing helped. It was like 16 hours of pain. Standing up didn't help, sitting down didn't help, curling up, nothing. It was just complete pain all around my whole body. And out of exhaustion, I fell asleep, and then the next day, kind of felt better, a little tender, but I thought, okay, I don't know, maybe something about the British food. I don't know. Keep going. And about 2 weeks later, I had the exact same thing happen again. And this started to make me think maybe maybe I should have this looked at. So I knew I was coming to the United States for a visit in New York, so in Miami and New York. So I made some doctor's appointments in New York. And then I went to Miami to visit with my parents for 1 week. At the end of that week, the night before I was getting on the plane, I had another stomach attack and could not get on the airplane. So this is when what I call my medical mystery tour began. And I had to go to the doctor. So I went to what they call a gastroenterologist. They did a bunch of tests, poked me in places people shouldn't poke people if they don't know each other. And they told me I had irritable bowel syndrome, which I later found out is the most common misdiagnosis for ovarian cancer. But at the time, that's what they thought. And really, what I also found out, that's the catch-all for, we don't know what's going on with you, so we're just going to call it irritable bowel syndrome and give you a diet of 7 things that you're allowed to eat, and everything else is off limits. And dealing with someone like myself, who I didn't even think about eating, much less do much of it, I didn't even think about it. So now I have to actually think. I can't eat anything with, there was no wheat, no dairy, no sugar, a bunch of other stuff, but these 7 things, this is all I'm allowed to eat. So I said, okay, I really don't like how the stomach thing feels, so I'll try the diet. And a week later, another stomach attack. Couldn't get on the plane. And that's when it sort of went into the gynecological direction. And my mother's gynecologist told me I had to have surgery. They didn't know what was going on, but they'd have to have surgery to actually physically look at it and tell me what was going on. And I said, no way. Surgery? No. So I got a second opinion. It's always very important, I think, if it's possible to get a second opinion when you're dealing with your health. It just helps, gives you a more complete perspective on what might be happening. And also, it's up to you to choose your doctors. A lot of people maybe don't think so. But you're in charge of your body. So if you don't like a doctor or they don't really jive with you, you don't like the energy, you don't like the connection, you can go find another doctor. They don't own you. That's for you. So I got a second opinion, and a third opinion, and a fourth opinion. Because I really didn't want it to be what it was looking like it was going to be. Because the fourth doctor was an oncologist. There's only one reason you go to an oncologist. So then I started to really feel seriously concerned. So I had this amazing doctor, though. He turned out to be one of my guardian angels, Dr. James Aileen, putting his name out there as thanks. He told me that he'd have to have an exploratory surgery to, again, once he got inside, he could really tell me what was going on and test the actual whatever he might be removing from my body. And then a couple of days later, I went to his office, and that's when the scariest word in the world fell upon my ears. Cancer. Yeah. Thank you, real fast. I didn't really hear anything after that word. I had my mother and my sister with me, so they were taking notes and asking questions. And I saw the doctor's mouth moving and just blah, 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 blah. I did not hear anything after that. So all I knew at the end was that a week later I'd have to have a real surgery. The first surgery was exploratory. They just a little incision on the belly button and put and through the belly button. So minimally invasive. And I love the words that start to come into my life with this life experience. Minimally invasive. You don't like that word when it comes to your body, right? So these are really scary. So the other surgery was really, open up, go on in there and removing things from my body. Very strange. But it turned out I had a mass on my right ovary, 5 by 5 by 5 centimeters, like a grapefruit. And that was the reason for my pain. And then it turned out I had other implants of the tumors were in other places that they removed, and part of my left ovary. So then, and actually for a moment, I just want to talk for a second about surgery. My sister did this amazing thing. This is my Dr. Aileen. Please clap for him. He's an angel. So my sister, that's my twin sister. My sister decorated my hospital rooms each time. she picked a theme. The first one was the Copacabana, and the second one was country cottage. But it's really important because the caregivers often feel kind of helpless and they want to do something. And she's very creative, and she set up all these, my dolls and her dolls, and she cut the photos to really small and stuck them on the side of my bed so that while I'm laying down, when I opened my eyes, I could see all of my friends and family right next to me. And she stayed in the room with me too, and anytime I opened my eyes, there was my dear twin sister smiling at me. And that kind of thing just means everything. And so while I was under anesthesia in the surgery, she and my boyfriend were in the room decorating and making it feel like a warm place instead of a cold hospital, sanitary, cold place. So I just wanted to share that because it's really important to know that there are so many little things that you can do when you are with someone, a loved one or a friend who's going through something like that. You could do these creative kinds of things too to give yourself something to do, and it really helps. But also just being there is everything. You just sit in the room, and that just means everything. So anyway, so I had to have these surgeries. It was stage 3C ovarian cancer, and a rare form of it also. So my treatment was, they weren't quite sure exactly what was going to happen with all of my treatment, but I had the surgery, and it was really scary. But then I had to really do a lot of research now about ovarian cancer. I had never even, believe it or not, I had never heard of ovarian cancer. Everybody talks about breast cancer. And that's all you hear about, really. And so ovarian cancer, I had no idea. And I kind of knew from my junior high school anatomy classes what the ovaries were and what they did, but not really. So when my doctor told me that the ovaries are about the size of an almond, tiny nut, these little nut-sized pouches are the source of life. This big. And I just didn't really realize how important those things were. And this is when the question came in, well, what does it mean for a 28-year-old woman to lose ovaries? If I lost both, it would mean I would be in menopause at 28, 29. But I also learned that they can function, even with a sliver of an ovary left, they can function fully. So I was really interested in holding on to at least a piece of my left ovary. So I was able to do that the first time and the second time. I had 2 recurrences. And I also had to think about whether I wanted children or not. And I wasn't really sure at that point. I hadn't really decided. I kind of felt yes sometimes no, but now this is not a choice. Now it's maybe I'm not going to be able to, so what does that mean? And then I started to think, well, what does that mean about me being a woman? If women reproduce without ovaries, am I less of a woman? How does that impact my sense of femininity and womanhood? So all these big, really huge questions started coming into my life that I could never have imagined I'd have to deal with. And so I thought about it, and then I thought once I had the surgery that I would be done. They'd cut me open, take stuff out, sew me back up, and I would be finished. And then the question of chemotherapy came up. And because I had a rare form of ovarian cancer, it was a little bit more of a question because the treatment already has 30% of us live. 30% live. So you do the math. That means 70% don't. And I was 28, and it's usually, that's if you catch it late stage, which usually with ovarian cancer, it's always discovered late because there's no test. There's no screening, there's no test, and the symptoms are easily misdiagnosed for so many other things that are not malignancies. So when they told me I'd have to do chemotherapy because they felt I'm young, I haven't had kids yet, be more aggressive with the treatment. So the idea of chemotherapy really blew my mind. So this is when my journey of real self-discovery really started. Because now I had to deal with something that I could not quantify in any way. Surgery is a finite thing. They cut you open, do whatever, seal you up, you heal, you're done. could grasp that. With chemotherapy, I couldn't really grasp what that meant physically, what it meant emotionally, mentally. I just had no idea. So this is when I really started to try to figure out, what this means for me. And I don't know how, my instinct was to figure out a way to, I don't want to say control, but things in my body were happening that were out of my control, but my mind and my spirit are in my control. So I knew I had to start doing positive visualizing and, things like that. So I immediately thought, well, I've always been a really good student. I love school. I've always taken the hardest classes, the hardest teachers. So I decided that cancer is my teacher. And she's a real bitch. But I'm going to learn a lot. I'm not going to like her that much, but I'm going to learn a lot. And so I decided to also visualize. A lot of people said, okay, the chemotherapy is going to go into your body and it's going to kill the cancer. I thought, okay, good. Army, I've got my army of chemicals they're going to put in my body. They're going to kill the cancer. And along with it, kill a lot of healthy things in the body. But that's okay because it's going to kill the cancer. But I didn't like that image, so I decided to make it a little more positive and playful. So now I was going to say the chemotherapy is like Indiana Jones, an archaeologist. So the chemotherapy is going to go in there and it's going to take the cancer out, but then we're going to study it. We're going to look at it. We're going to see what can we learn from this cancer? What is it here to teach us? So that's how I started to think about things. And then the reality set in. Oh yes, chemotherapy. I don't want to die. Holy shit, I'm going to lose my hair. Second thought. Holy shit, I'm going to lose my hair. You remember they saw the picture. I had long hair my whole life. My whole life, long down to my back. It was my identity. It was my trademark, my hippie hair, peace, flower child, jazz chick. So now, who am I without my hair? Wow. So I kind of freaked out a little bit, but then I decided, okay, I'm going to have a haircut party. Yeah. Everybody told me to cut it short first, and so it wouldn't be as scary when it came out. But I had started my treatment, and the appointment was 3 days later, and I couldn't go. I was in too much pain. So my sister went to the salon and got Michelle. Michelle's had been cutting my hair for 20 years, but always the same haircut, because I always wanted it long. If she cut more than an inch, I would cry. But she's French. She always wanted to cut my hair really short, so it's bittersweet. My sister's goes there and tells her, Sharon has cancer, she's going through chemotherapy, we need you to cut her hair. So Michelle came over with her scissors and her comb and gave me a haircut house call and cut my hair in my parents' living room. And we photographed my boyfriend and my mom and everybody. We took pictures and we had fun. And it was actually, I really ended up liking the short haircut. I had never had short hair, and I always kind of wanted to try it, but I was always afraid. Well, if I don't have long hair, I'm not Sharon anymore. So I never did it. I wanted to do dreadlocks once, but I thought, well, if I don't like them, then I have to cut them off. So no dreadlocks, just keep the same hair my whole life. And I ended up really liking it. So about 9 days later, and my friends were all there, and it just became a party. And about 9 days later, it really started to fall out. And that's Michelle. By the way, yeah, this could have been a really devastating, hard day, but having this party made this experience and the memory of it such a joyful experience. I had so much fun. I kind of forgot why I was getting my hair cut, because I was just having so much fun, and my friends were there, and everybody's, messing with my hair, and oh, I can do this and have no tangles. Wow, freedom. But then the hair started to really, really come out. I just shake my head and it would just fall out, just raining hair. And I thought, oh, okay, I'll wash it and then take out the loose hair. But that was even worse, because then it was sticky, and there were hair all over my hands, my body. The hair was everywhere. So then I decided, okay, we have to have a head shaving party now, round 2. So I bought a pair of clippers and at the drugstore, and they came with a little video, an instruction video, of how to shave the head. And the night before, I had gone to an engagement party. They had a henna artist, so I decided to get a little tattoo. So we all sat around, 6 of us, all sat around and watched this video of how to shave one's head. Of course, it was a guy in the video. They didn't really plan for people like me. So we got together and everybody took turns shaving my head. And once again, it was just this fun event. I'm out there, I'm looking out, I'm on the bay in the water in Florida. It's beautiful. My brother and sister are there. We're laughing. We're just having a great time. I'm talking on the phone with my boyfriend in London, giving him the blow-by-blow. Yeah, it's 1 inch now. Yeah, it's a ½ inch now. And it just kept getting shorter and shorter. And at a certain point, actually, when it was all the way down, I could just like erase it with my finger. I could just do that, and the hair would be gone. So I really had a great time with it, and I know it sounds weird to say, but I looked in the mirror afterwards, and I was like, wow, okay, I look kind of cute without my hair. It's not bad, you know. Kind of had like, it was like a punk rock, you know, fuck you, cancer kind of thing. Or kind of like a Buddhist monk. You know, I have to go to the positive, right? Buddhist monk is peace. Yes, I'm going to find my inner self and everything. So I really had fun, and it was amazing to have that experience with my family. I do want to actually talk a little bit about family and friends. Without my family and friends, I don't know what this would have been like. I suppose if I had to do it alone, I could have. But I didn't have to. I had so many friends, and sometimes when I go back and I look through these photographs, you would never think that this is a woman who's going through like this incredibly traumatic, life-changing, life-altering, facing my mortality. So it's really amazing the power that our family and friends have to support us and to show us all the love that is in our life and available in the universe. They reflect that back to us. So even if I was feeling really crappy, sad, going through the pain, and it's a very solo journey. Cancer is a very private, solo journey. So we are alone, but we also know with our friends and family that was fake mustache. With our friends and family, we're not alone. And we can always rely on that even when we feel so completely alone. But having our friends and family showing us the love and support, it really changes relationships. It can really intensify them in a positive and negative way. Some relationships were really made closer, and some relationships fell apart. But I also do want to say that some people who disappeared and couldn't deal with it, a lot of people said, oh, you know who your real friends are because they're the ones who stick around. But I didn't really agree with that completely, because cancer brings up so much fear for people that if they couldn't handle being around it, I didn't want them around me either, because their fear and negativity would not be good for me. So I knew that they loved me, and it was their own fears that took them away from me, but I knew that they were sending me their love all the time. So I never felt like I lost friends because they weren't around. I knew that those were people who, they were taking care of themselves, something I was learning just now, learning how to do myself, learning how to ask for help. Big lesson. I had never asked for help. I was the one who people ask for help. I do things. I take care of other people. And now I'm the one who has to now ask for help. And that was really difficult for me. So when I lost my hair, I really started to embrace the whole thing. It was the beginning of really looking at, when I look in the mirror, then really looking from my eyes to my eyes and seeing myself, you know, just at the core almost in some ways. And I really started to embrace, you know, my femininity in a new way. I used to wear all black, baggy men's clothes, had my long hair. I was hiding a lot. I just wanted to be behind the scenes. I didn't want I didn't want people to look at me. I just kind of, so I even had a couple of dresses. I never had dresses before. I just sort of started to really embrace this new idea that I'm a woman, on inside and out, with or without my ovaries and my hair and all these things. And that was really an incredibly powerful lesson that I took from it, which I never would have imagined actually really enjoying having no hair and getting through all this stuff. Some of those ideas came from a lot of alternative therapies that I was doing. I explored a lot of Eastern medicine and other things. I did the surgeries and chemotherapy, but I also think it's really important with your body to be open to all kinds of healing therapies. I did Chinese herbs and acupuncture. I did yoga and meditation, which I had never done, because the idea of sitting still for even 30 seconds was insane to me. I could never do it. The first time I meditated, I was sitting there, I closed my eyes. I was supposed to just do it for 3 minutes. Okay, 3 minutes is not that long. I was every 20 seconds like looking at the clock. It's like, oh my God, it's only been 20 seconds. What, But eventually, I was meditating 20 minutes at a time, twice a day, and that I couldn't even believe I was able to do that. But it's so important to take care of yourself and to give yourself that time. When I was working, I never really took the time out to nurture myself. The idea of getting a massage or going to a spa or doing it, that was insane to me. I don't spend money or time on that kind of thing. I've got stuff to do. And so it's really important to do that sort of thing. Another thing I did was my own version of laugh therapy. I would go see funny movies, watch anything funny on TV, because laughing is extremely healing. And so I would do any of those kinds of things. Total overhaul of my nutrition. And I also worked with something called a medical intuitive. And I still work with this woman, and still some of the most powerful work I've done for myself in terms of connecting with myself. And they help to guide to find something that's happening energetically and spiritually that is manifesting in this particular physical way. So you have a physical situation, but there's something spiritually or energetically happening underneath and around it. And discovering that, you can also, if you heal that, you can also heal your body. So a huge part of my journey was really honoring the connection between the mind, body, and the spirit. And I always knew and was very aware of that, but I never really had activated that as a lifestyle for myself. So I did that. And it was really important. So I had 2 recurrences. I had two more surgeries. And finally, in January 2003, the last surgery, I had to let go of my left ovary, what was left of my left ovary. And now I'm on hormone replacement. So then I had to think again about how am I defining myself? How am I defining my womanhood? Who's defining that? By what standards? Is there a list of things that makes me a woman? And if you're missing those things, you're not a woman anymore? I say no to that question, by the way. So back when I had shaved my head and lost my hair and all that, this was the inspiration to start my organization, Bald is Beautiful. I wanted to take some pictures for myself, just for me to feel beautiful, because usually a photo shoot and makeup and the whole photo shoot is associated with fashion and beauty, and I wanted to do that for myself without hair. So I took these pictures for myself, and they came out wonderfully. I ended up working with a photographer who was really creative, and we did 4 or 5 photo shoots that I didn't know till later. She had a theme in mind, a message, and they all turned out to be really amazing. And then I did another, it wasn't a photo shoot really, but a play called Wit was opening. It's a play about a woman with cancer. And the people in South Florida had contacted this support community that I was in and told me they wanted to talk to real cancer patients. The actors wanted to talk to real cancer patients. So I went to this reading of the play, and I just joked that I want to shave the actor's head. Because someone had to shave my head. I want to know what it feels like to shave someone else's head. So they said, great, we'll send a photographer. So we did hold this whole another head shaving party. It's my specialty now. And so they took pictures, and they were going to do a little announcement that this play was opening at a new theater and all this. We thought it'd be, small little article. And it turned out to be on the cover of the Arts and Leisure section of the Miami Herald, huge double-page 4 thing. On the cover was me and this woman, 2 bald girls smiling at each other on the cover of this thing. And my parents, we didn't know when it was coming out or how big it was going to be. And my parents started getting phone calls from their friends. Oh, we didn't know your daughter was sick. We didn't know what's going on. The picture's amazing. I'm sending it to my aunt who has cancer because it's going to make her smile and feel better. Or another woman said she keeps it by her computer at her work to remind her every day that you can find joy in every moment. So it just clicked suddenly for me, the power of the image in the media to change people's perceptions about themselves, about beauty, about other people, about life experiences and what they can be like. And that's when I decided, okay, when I finish with this cancer thing, I'm going to do Bald is Beautiful. So after my final surgery, I decided I was going to keep my head shaved. And I took some time and I wrote a mission statement, 1 page, just to kind of figure out also for myself, what is my message? And it starts with the hair, and it starts with women with cancer, about embracing every part of the journey. I also met a lot of women on this journey that had a harder time with the fact that they lost their hair than the fact that they had cancer. That just completely, I just felt completely out of whack. And I've always felt that there's so much societal pressure, and I was anti-fashion industry because I just thought it was, pardon me, but I just thought it was a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of people telling people what they're supposed to look like to be considered attractive and beautiful and be complete as women or men or anything. And I didn't buy into it myself. And then I'm going through this experience where, without my choice, my body is changing. I have a scar on my belly, the 8-inch scar, which I call my beauty mark. We always, in every moment, good or bad, we have the option, we have the choice to learn and grow from it, and we can make it something positive. So everything, I just, for myself, automatically, I turned it. It's not a scar, it's a beauty mark. So my body's changing without my permission, and now I have to have the same high standards and impossible standards that every woman has, men too, but I'm a woman, it's my experience, so I relate it more to women, but it's really for everybody. But there's so much pressure to conform to a very narrow idea of what is attractive and beautiful. And now I have my body changing in ways that take me further away from that idea, and I have no choice. So I just thought, excuse me again, but fuck that. So sometimes you just got to say it like that, So I started Bald is Beautiful. I wrote this mission statement. I was going to write a book about my experience, but then I decided, it'd be much quicker and easier to start the website and put the message up and out there. And I just, okay, I'll try it for a year, see what happens. I didn't want this to be another good idea that I had that I said, oh, that would have been a good idea, and then not do it. I didn't have a job at the time. I had left my job. I was back in New York. I was starting over, so why not? So I had some of these pictures that I had taken, and I stuck the mission statement on the back. And my sister is an actor, so I got some advice, like, where should I send these? And I just started mailing them out and submitting myself for jobs and putting out there this idea. And people really liked the idea. Not everyone was ready or willing to take what they saw as a risk to do something so, out of the ordinary, but eventually certain things started to click. And things were really happening. I got this was the first thing that happened, is this very little thing in Glamour magazine, and suddenly it's starting to make sense, and it's sort of catching on. And I started to do more articles, and I did some fashion shows and other modeling and feature articles where I could discuss, parts of my journey, and really, and I found this makeup artist, for example, who he's a cancer survivor, and his whole cosmetics line is about helping women feel beautiful while they're going through cancer. And I just started connecting to a whole community of creative people in the fashion industry who actually get it, and they're willing. So I got my website up, and I thought I'd just do it for a year and see what happens. And after a year, it was really building momentum. These wonderful, amazing things were happening. And so I said, oh, well, I'll do it for 5 years. And my 5-year cancer-free anniversary, I'll do something else. And it just kept building and going from there. So and then I would also get emails from all over the world. I didn't have a concept about, I'm a really analog girl, non-technical, the World Wide Web thing. I didn't know what it meant to put up a website. I didn't know that that meant literally everyone in the world can see my website if they want to somehow. And so I started getting emails from women, and some men, but women all over the world who were going through an experience or had a loved one going through an experience and asking my advice. And or they were just telling me how much seeing my website or reading my story or seeing my photos made them feel better about themselves, or made their aunt or sister or niece feel better about themselves, or their daughter. And it was so powerful for me. It just felt like anytime I would get an email, it just, oh yes, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm here, and I have to do more. So then it's the idea of stopping. There's no idea of stopping. I don't know when, or I don't know what that's going to look like, but I just felt like this is amazing, and this is what I want to do, and now I want to do it more and bigger. And I just, again, I've gotten such incredible emails of just seeing the image. I told a story the other day about a woman in Italy. This is one of the first emails I got. It was a woman in Italy saw the Mary Claire Italia piece that you saw, the bold, the little picture like that. Those 2 pictures. And she took that page. She was going through treatment. She was bald. She took that page and stuck it next to her front door in her apartment. And sorry. I always respond this way when I tell this story. She put my picture next to her front door, so every day she'd leave her house and she saw me like that, telling her she was beautiful every day before she leaves her house. She'd have me, little Sharon from New York, telling this woman in Italy that she's beautiful every day. I just thought that was so incredible and powerful, and I knew this is what I had to keep doing, and so that's me. That's Bald is Beautiful. And actually, one more thing about Bald is Beautiful, because this is for you guys. This was just a crazy idea I had. Crazy idea in this wacky mind. And I did it. You have the power to create your world, to change your world, to make an impact on your world. It's all within you have these incredible minds that do incredible things. Those are your minds, and you can do those incredible things with your minds, with each other, for yourselves. So I encourage you, if you have an idea, don't allow yourself or anyone else to tell you it's crazy. Even if it is, give it a try. If it fails, what's the worst? You can do something else. But you have the power to accomplish your dreams. Bald is Beautiful was a crazy dream. And I'm realizing my dreams. I'm standing here in Spain talking to you right now. I'm alive, and I'm talking to you right now. So there's nothing beyond your reach. So do it. Thank you.